Sneaky boys! Sneaky beakies, so...
Sneaky beakies, I like it.
Yeah. So finally we've got an update. We've got our supplement. Yeah, I'm relatively happy.
He looks thrilled.
No, he looks just plain depressed. Although to be fair, with the amount of scars on his face, I can't imagine he's ever particularly comfortable. So, yeah, I'm feeling it so far. I think they play very fluffy. We've just gone through the Iron Hands one supplement, which you'll see probably get uploaded first anyway. They're definitely not on a level, just on a power level as the Iron Hands. I think they're going to be a bit more of a thinking players army,
which is why they suit you better than I.
Yeah, moving on. So we've gone through, looking at the supplements, you've got quite a lot of fluff in here. It does go back to looking at their heritage, looking at where they come from. So there's a nice bit about actually about deliverance and Kievar.
They're all slaves, born into servitude.
They were, and then freed by.
I'll be right back.
Okay, so so going through chapter organisation. So a good little bit about the different companies, which hasn't really been expanded on very much, which we like. It's
back
in black.
You get it.
Decent bit of the fluff from it, and just explaining how various ones fight, because with the Raven Guard, whilst they're all quite sneaky, and whilst they are all kind of playing that sort of stealth and guerrilla warfare sort of game, certain ones are a bit more prone to stronger attacks. Someone like the Third Company obviously tend to hit quite hard.
They're trying to be blood angels.
No, they're better. Going through, we've got good bit of fluff. There's also some really nice artwork, including on this page of one that's from previous Horus Heresy novels.
The novel covers are so nice.
Yeah, one of my favourite pieces of artwork that GW have done. But there is some good ones, and there's a few likenesses to us appearing in here as well, isn't there?
So see if you can spot them.
Obviously, you've got a bit more fluff in there about Damocles, and a few of their kind of few things which are quite good for if you're reading through just to see how they fight, because it really explains how they operate, which the book does kind of back that up.
Damocles ended well for Severax, didn't it?
Not for Severax, did for Shrike though. He got a handy promotion out of it.
And now he's pimped.
And now he is definitely pimped, and complete with fringe now as well. So new model is there. He did sneak into the Iron Hands review as well. Obviously, he was infiltrating.
Sneaky beakies.
He was trying to gain some intelligence prior to our game. So, Shrike, let's go straight into him. So, 130 points. It's a 20-point drop from what he was before, and he has only got better. Does begrudge slightly paying that much when the Iron Hands character is 20 points cheaper and so much stronger.
Yeah.
But he is decent. So, obviously, he's got a jump pack. So 14-inch moves,
that's long for a jump.
Pretty
that's
quick.
Bike movement stat, really.
Yeah, pretty quick. So web skill and bliss skill 2 up. You'd expect nothing more from a chapter master. Strength 4, toughness 4.
Yeah.
He's a marine. 6 wounds.
Is that less than a Primaris
But he's
master?
less than...
Or what you'd expect for the formula, isn't it?
Certainly, well, it's less than your tech marine. So,
True.
6 attacks, which is again kind of what you'd expect.
Yeah, with the 2 weapons and the Primaris.
Yeah. Leadership 9. I'm actually surprised that's not 10, but
nothing really gets leadership 10. Inquisitors maybe.
Yeah. But then only a 3-up save, because he is in Phobos armor, as opposed to anything heavier.
Yeah.
His weapons, he's got the Raven's Talons, which have had a bit of a boost.
Oh, yeah.
So it used to be damage D3, and they're now strength user, AP -3 and flat damage 2.
Yeah.
which is not bad.
Yeah. So following the formula, they're basically mastercrafted lightning claws, aren't they?
Yeah, pretty much. And then they have the old tread roll. So when resolving an attack made with a weapon, you can re-roll the wound roll. So fairly decent, even though he's only strength 4. Actually, that's gives you decent reliability on it. He has had a pistol added now called Blackout, which he's never had a proper ranged weapon before. So 18-inch range, which for a pistol is fairly serious. It's a pistol 2 for the type, and it's strength 4, AP -2, damage flat 2, which again is quite fun. Obviously it has the sniper roll, as you'd expect for it being Shrike.
Oh, does it? I didn't realise that.
Yeah, which means that a roll of 6+ inflicts 1 mortal wound.
Very good, okay.
So once you start looking at buffing that, particularly with their chapter trait, then we're dishing out a few more wounds.
Well, you can easily deep strike in and, you're probably saying
just ping out a small character or something like that. So, and then obviously he's got grenades, and then his abilities, and whilst he's not quite as stacked as other characters that we've had, he actually has got some.
You're thinking of.
He has got some decent abilities. So obviously he's a chapter master, so it's reroll hits for attacks, and that's obviously the new chapter master ability. So it is basically ignoring the modifiers for.
The wording is changing, isn't it? It's creeping through.
Yeah, and rightfully so, I think. On those.
It just confused the hell out of people having to keep working out. Which ones would be misses and which ones can I re-roll? I think a blanket change to that would just make the game easier.
Definitely, yeah. So diving charge. After a model finishes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit within an inch of it and roll a d6. On a 4 or more, that enemy suffers 1 mortal wound.
Yeah, like the Inceptor rule, is it?
Yeah, it's kind of like the old Hammer of Wrath, but in all honesty, on a single model, if I can get a mortal wound here or there is always good, but it's not going to make a huge deal of anything.
No.
Got an Iron Halo, so he has got his 4 up invulnerable. Grav Shoot, so he can deploy in Deep Strike, basically. And then the bit that kind of makes him better, that really helps, Wing Deliverance. So you can re-roll charge rolls made for Raven Guard Jump Pack and Phobos units if they're within 6 inch of the model when the roll is made.
Yeah.
So your units of Vanguard Veterans, Assault Squads, not that anyone takes them. Even Reavers are becoming a little bit more useful, because obviously they are a Phobos unit.
Yeah. So he's an auto-include in a Raven Guard army, like most of the special characters are tending to be.
I think, actually, to be honest, I would say probably not so much of an auto-include on a Raven Guard. Although he is very cool, it's Shrike, it's like, yeah, he's amazing. Actually, there is some of the bits further on with the Warlord traits and that actually do make him a little bit superfluous. There are some decent combos. Obviously, he's got a Warlord trait.
Yeah, what does that do?
His Warlord trait prevents you from firing Overwatch, which is unchanged. That's what he had last edition.
The one trick I had up my sleeve.
So that's Shrike. As I say, he's good. He's a nice new model. I know it's divided opinions for most people.
I think it's pretty good. I think viewing it front on, like you said, doesn't do it as much justice with the terrain piece.
Yeah, I think it looks better in person than it does on
totally
does in photos anyway. So the actual the army themselves. Also, I'm going to use the royal we for this. We were the only Space Marine chapter to actually have their chapter tactic get worse in the new book. Losing the constant -1 was a fairly large hit, certainly for a lot of theirs, but with the addition of vehicles gaining it, kind of helps a little bit.
But it probably was the go-to chapter tactic.
You'd be surprised. I was going to say for a short period, but then Ultramarines very soon took over, and actually towards the end of kind of that previous book, certainly on the competitive side, Raven Guard were really down there. You were seeing probably more salamanders and ultramarines than anything else.
It's ironic because ultramarines pretty much stayed the same. Salamander's got a boost, and Raven Guard have gone down.
Yeah.
I suspect that's probably more to do with other armies that had similar tactics that are going to have the same change.
Thing is, I think so, but I think what you also probably find is actually at the time of this being written, so Games Workshop works on, I think it's about 6 to 8 months.
Right.
They were maybe not in their ascendancy, but they were still fairly strong up there.
Gotcha.
And it's only kind of since then that they waned. So our additional bonus, whilst tactical doctrine is active, when resolving an attack made by a model with this ability against a character unit, you can add 1 to hit and to wound. It's good, but it's very situational. It's very fluffy. The whole kind of take off the head. Yep. That kind of the way they fight.
Bit of a delicate subject, mate. I wouldn't go there.
Oh, we will go there. We will go there. I think the actual secret strength for this is when fighting against something like Imperial Knights, which all of a sudden, if they want to drop relics on them, they need to make them characters.
Yeah.
And obviously, this is everything in the army, so it's not just snipers that are hitting them. So any las cannons, plasmas, anything like that that's hitting those, or even better, thunder hammers.
Yeah.
Because it is any attack, not just a shooting or a melee, it's anything.
So am I right that for your sniper weapons, suddenly you're hitting on 2s, assuming you haven't moved?
Yeah.
I don't know how the sniper weapons work for the new Primaris guys, but for the older scout snipers, so you're hitting on 2s then, and then when you're rolling to wound, let's just assume it's a toughness 4 character.
Yeah.
You're adding 1 to the wound roll, so
correct.
You're wounding on 3s.
Yeah.
But are you also then getting the mortal wounds on 5s?
Yes, because it's on a 6+ rather than on an unmodified 6.
Yes. Okay, that's good.
As opposed to something like the Eliminators with their Mortis rounds, that basically anything toughness 4 or below, you're hitting on 2s and wounding on 2s.
Right. Okay. This is good.
So they are quite strong.
Did you bring some of these later on?
Oh, well, you mean those 3 that are sat right there?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Right. Okay.
So it's very situational, but I do think it has some strength to it. Yeah. Warlord traits. This is probably for me where they come into their own a little bit more.
Cool. So we talked about 1, didn't we?
Yeah. So your first one's Shadow Master, which is what Shrike has. Yeah. Which is enemy units cannot fire Overwatch at that model.
Pretty big for this army, I think.
Pretty big. Again, Marines aren't a great combat army at the moment. Like, you've got a handful of units that can do it, but on something like a Smash Captain, like we saw how good the Blood Angels once were.
Yes.
And
Angel's Wing.
The ability to avoid Overwatch was a big part of that.
Because you can, if you just take a generic Smash Captain, you want him to be your Warlord, so you can put Shadow Master on him, so he's effectively Angel's Wing. But you can also just give him the generic Mastercrafted weapon, can't you? So is that just add 1 to the AP and damage?
But you probably wouldn't do that. And I'll show you why coming up.
Okay. There's more.
Yeah. So number 2 is Master of Ambush. This one is probably one of my personal favourites, actually. At the start of the first battle round, so that's start of the battle round, so it's after you've rolled to see who's going first, etc. Before the first turn begins, if this Warlord is on the battlefield, you can select 1 other friendly Raven Guard infantry unit on the battlefield, remove that unit and this Warlord from the battlefield, and set them up anywhere on the battlefield that's more than 9 inch from the enemy deployment zone and more than 9 from enemy models.
Nice.
It's the ability to get into someone's face that quickly. If you've got, say, a Smash Captain and a unit of Thunderhammer Vanguards, you can do that, get 9 inch away from the deployment zone, and then straight away you're moving in your first turn and getting a... you can fairly comfortably get
charge as normal.
Oh yes, they operate as usual because it's before the first turn.
Yeah. So this is the old.
It's the old Strike from the Shadows.
Strike from the Shadows, but you're limited in that you can do it on a maximum of 1 character and 1 unit.
Exactly.
But if it's a Thunderhammer, Storm Shield, Smash Captain, and a unit of 10 Vanguard veterans.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So number 3.
I see where your sneaky tactics are going.
Yeah, number 3, swift and deadly.
Yeah.
Friendly Raven Guard units within 6 inches of the Warlord can be chosen to charge, even if they advanced.
Okay.
Not bad. Would tie in quite nicely with the Master of Ambush. You can fairly comfortably get your first turn charge if you can advance and then charge as well.
So that's worth taking the. Well, presumably they've got the same as other chapters where you can add an
take
extra
2.
Warlord trait.
Yeah.
Well, there we go. So it's very hard to choose between those 3 actually, isn't it?
To be honest,
very good.
all of them are fairly handy. Number 4, when Master of Vigilance. When resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by this Warlord, an unmodified hit roll of 6 inflicts 1 mortal wound on the target,
Right, okay.
in addition to any other damage.
We've got one of them.
I was going to say, quite nice, but actually you're not going to take it. Number 5, Feigned Flight. When this Warlord falls back, they can move across models and terrain as if the models and terrain were not there. In addition, the Warlord can shoot and charge in a turn which they fell back.
Was he thinking he's a Harlequin?
Giving him a flip belt. So that one I like on the sheer fact of he's just so Raven Guardy.
Yeah.
Certainly if he's got a jump pack.
unit, doesn't he? So you can just say,
No, literally anything. And then the last one's Echo of the Raven Spire. So once per battle, at the end of your movement phase, a Warlord can vanish into the gloom if they are more than 6 inches away from enemy models.
Okay.
When it does, remove it from the battlefield. You then set this Warlord up again at the end of your next movement phase, anywhere that is more than 9 inches from enemy models.
Strike from the shadows.
Or Skitterleap.
What's
Swooping Hawks. Skyleap.
Skyleap.
So, yeah, the Warlord traits are really strong. And that is where I think a lot of their strength's going to come.
Yeah.
I really feel like taking multiple characters in a Raven Guard army is going to be the kind of the way forward. We'll touch on the relics quickly, and then.
But you're still limited with how many you can take. What, a maximum of 2 Warlord traits if you burn that command point?
You take 2, and then you can use the one in the Codex to have a second character with a Warlord trait. So you can basically have your Warlord with 2 burn in a command point, and burn in another command point to take another character with a Warlord trait as well.
I'd forgotten about the one from the generic.
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay, so the relics, basically what you would expect. So the Ebon Claws, it's Shrike Soul Claws, basically. He's passed them back down again. So Mortal Claw with 2 Lightning Claws only, so that is just normal. You can't take Primaris with Lightning Claws yet. Yeah. So Strength User, AP -3, damage D3, and you've got the +1 attack, and then re-rolling wounds.
So it's literally just swapping a flat damage 2 for a variable 1 to 3.
Plus you've got a bonus AP, which is -3 on those, as opposed to normal Lightning Claws.
Oh, sorry, I'm comparing with Strikes.
Oh, okay,
So.
Yeah, you're swapping the damage out, basically. Next one's Armor Shadows. So when resolving an attack made with a weapon that has an armor penetration characteristic of -1 against a model for your army with this relic, the weapon is treated as having AP of 0.
So it becomes a salamander.
Or a Thousand Sun. In addition, when resolving an attack against a model from your army with this relic, an unmodified hit of 1, 2 or 3 always fails. So that is quite nasty.
So what Blood Ravens should have been.
Yeah, and that's, no, this is to hit.
Oh, to
this
hit,
is not
sorry,
to wound.
not to
This is to hit. So actually, in combat, if you're having to hit with 4s or more, it's quite a good character. Character killer. The Raven Skull of Corvad. This one that a lot of people had on chaplains previously on the models, or like to convert them to be that.
I certainly did.
Yeah. So once per turn, when resolving an attack made by a model with your army with this relic, you can re-roll the hit roll, wound roll, or damage roll. In addition, if a model for your army with this relic is destroyed as a result of an attack made by an enemy unit, then until the end of the battle, when resolving an attack made by a friendly Raven Guard unit, add 1 to the hit roll, or against that enemy unit.
Okay.
So it's a kind of bit like giving them the old hatred rule.
Yeah.
So it's alright. Realistically, you're probably not looking at that, not when there's such other good stuff.
But if he overcharges a plasma pistol and kills himself, they don't.
Doesn't count. No, they don't get angry. Just feel pity for him, I'd assume. So Raven's Fury jump pack. So given or swapped out for your jump pack. A model from your army with this relic can be chosen to charge with, even if they advance this turn. When a charge roll is made for that model, you can re-roll the dice. In addition, after that model finishes a charge move, you can select one enemy unit within 1 inch of that model and roll 1d6. On a 4-up, that enemy suffers 1 mortal wound.
So that sounds like a lot of strikey things rolled into a relic.
Ease, basically.
Yeah.
So it just counts for him rather than like an aura. But to go back to our Smash Captains, if you've got someone who's got that and the negate in Overwatch, you're getting a model that can advance and charge, can re-roll his failed charge, and ignores Overwatch. So
I've got a feeling this is going somewhere.
There's a couple of little combinations in it.
You can also do a build your own old school strike, then, can't you?
Pretty much.
Take a captain, give him a jump pack, Raven's Fury, pay a command point for Ebon Claws.
Can't give him 2 relics.
We can't give him 2 relics.
No, not the same character.
Oh, that's a shame. Okay.
Yeah. So next one, Ex Tenebris, which is an old relic from 7th edition. So model equipped with a mastercrafted Stalker bolt rifle, mastercrafted Oculus bolt carbine, or mastercrafted Instigator bolt carbine. So Primaris, basically. This relic replaces a mastercrafted Stalker bolt rifle, blah 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 blah. Basically, it's a multiple shot kind of sniper rifle.
It's an Assault 3 weapon, right?
Yeah, so it's range 36, Assault 3, Strength 4, AP -2, Damage 2. Weapon can target character unit even if it's not the closest enemy unit, and when resolving an attack made with this weapon, you can add 1 to the hit roll. In addition, when resolving an attack made with this weapon, target does not gain the benefit of cover. So it's fairly nasty.
Yeah. Good if you're running that Primaris Phobos captain.
Yeah, which is where I've seen it a few times so far, or on a lieutenant, just sitting back to kind of add some weight to the snipers.
He probably would benefit more actually, because the BS is 3 on a lieutenant, isn't it? So
yeah, so you would be hitting on your 2s then. Or it's good for ignoring minuses if you've got it on a captain. Ignore those negatives.
Yeah.
And then the last one's an Oppresses End, which is possibly the first relic I've ever seen that replaces a combat knife.
Hey.
So model equipment with combat knife only. And then it's a Strength 1, AP -2, Damage 1 knife. When the bearer fights, makes 1 additional attack. It's a combat knife. In addition, when resolving an attack made with this weapon against a character, the weapon has the damage characteristic of 3.
Oh, nice.
So it is a bit of a jump up.
So is this the Reaver lieutenant that doesn't work? This is what you want to put on him, is it?
Yeah. Basically, he's a bit of a little assassin. Quite a nice little, quite a nice bit. Your special issue war gear, again, you've got the same ones as the other books. So the Adamantine Mantle, Artificer Armour, Mastercrafted Weapon, Digital Weapons, and then the actual Raven specific ones. You've got the Shadow Master Cloak, which is a 3-up invulnerable save if you're wholly on or in a terrain feature.
Nice.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's all right. It's
again nice for a Primaris sniper lieutenant. Not that you can put 2.
No, but yeah, it's you're probably not going to be taking it. Like, there are better options, but it's all right. Then you've got Silentus, which is a pistol. Pistol 2, range 12 inch, Strength 5, AP -2, Damage 2. Again, they're liking the flat damages, particularly on their stuff at the moment. And that has the sniper roll plus the +1 to hit that you get with Ex Tenebris. So it is basically a weaker version of Ex Tenebris.
Their specific bolt rounds.
Your specific bolt round, which is the Corvidari bolts. So you select 1 bolt weapon that the model is equipped with. When it's choosing to shoot with, you can choose that weapon to fire a Corvidari bolt. If you do, when choosing targets for that model and when choosing ranged weapons, the weapon's range characteristic is increased by 6 inches, and it can target units that are not visible to the bearer, but only 1 attack can be made with that weapon. So you're basically ignoring line of sight, but only one model, only one attack from one weapon. A bolt is not really going to do a great deal of difference.
No, there's
it's not got
options.
it's not got the sniper rule, so you can't use it to pick out a character.
No, well, that's,
So there are much better options, and compared to like the Haywire one from the Iron Hands, it's just not even close. And then last one's a Shard of Istvan. Obviously a throwback to Istvan 5.
Oh. What happened
there? Someone lost the red. So add one to the attacks characteristic if of a model with this relic. In addition, when a morale test is taken for a chapter unit within 6 inch of a friendly model with this relic, do not roll the dice, it's automatically passed. So fearless within 6. Actually don't mind this for, there were a few builds in the previous book where basically you'd get a Raven Guard castle. So you'd sit back with a load of Primaris Ancient, Hellblasters, etc. And actually it was a infantry castle.
Yeah.
Obviously taking advantage of the -1 to hit, etc. With this, if you've got that on a chapter ancient, actually, if you're then making that whole castle fearless, it's not bad. Marines don't suffer morale that much, but actually.
Well, I think with Primaris, there's this tendency for Workshop to encourage you to take bigger units, isn't there? Because you get all the stratagems that apply to them.
You get value out of your strats, don't you?
Whereas I don't think you really get that with the older school Marines. You're encouraged to take min-max units. So yeah, Primaris Castle, Hellblasters.
Yeah. So then, stratagems next. Again, they're quite decent. I wouldn't put them in the same ballpark as Ultramarines or Iron Hands at the moment, but there is a couple here that are particularly that do prick your ears up.
I'm getting the impression that with the Iron Hands, certainly you could, if you were going to have a game where you said, we're not using any stratagems, warlord traits, relics, the Iron Hands would hold their own.
I think they'd smash the bejesus out of most people if you ignore strats.
Exactly. Whereas the Raven Guard, it looks to me like they rely on their warlord traits, relics, and strats to make it work.
A few people have mentioned it. I know, a couple of places I've seen it. Is the Raven Guard are basically Eldar Space Marines. They rely so much on synergy, and that's Unfortunately, for the first part of using this book, I'm probably going to take a few stompings because I'm going to have to get used to using the army again, because it is going to be very different, certainly to what it used to be. But let's go through. So first one, infiltrators. Have a guess what that is going to be.
I think it might have something to do with infiltrating.
Possibly. So 1 CP, nice and cheap. Use the stratagem at the start of the first battle round, before the first turn begins. So again, it's in that kind of the grey area. So after you've rolled off and etc. Select 1 Raven Guard infantry unit from your army that's on the battlefield. The unit can move as if it was your movement phase. The unit must end that move more than 9 inches away from any enemy models.
Okay.
If both players have units that can do this, obviously the first turn moves their units first.
So this is the old Strike from the Shadows FAQ'd version, is that right?
Yes, yeah. It's the same, but it's slightly better in the fact that you can now move as if it was your movement phase.
Yeah.
So with the old Strike from the Shadows, it was a set, was it 7 inches, I think it was?
I don't remember.
But now you can move your full, and because it's as if it was your movement phase, you can advance. So unit of jump pack Marines can potentially do 18 inches.
So if you're getting first turn, then you're getting first turn charges easy.
For the most part, yeah.
Yeah.
And also, because it's pre-game.
Yep. You can do as many as you want.
You can do as many as you want. Second one, Raven's Blade for single CP on this one again. Used at the start of your charge phase. Select 1 enemy unit on the battlefield. Until the end of that phase, when a charge roll is made for a Raven Guard unit from your army, you can re-roll the dice if that enemy unit was the only selected target of that charge.
Okay.
So if you really want to get rid of a unit and you've got, I don't know, a Smash Captain and some Vanguard Veteran with Thunderhammers, if you've got them there, if you're looking at a Knight or something there that you really want to 1 CP to give you re-roll charges, you're not going to be hit multiple charges on it.
It's the Raven Guard version of the Iron Hand strat, isn't it? If you really want to focus on something and
Yes,
make sure
yeah.
you get the job done.
We just do it with our fists instead of... so next one, Stranglehold.
That doesn't sound good.
No, and this is possibly the fluffiest one that I've seen in it.
I know which one this is. Yeah.
So it's 2 command points. Use this stratagem at the start of the first battle round before the first turn begins. If your army includes any Raven Guard Scout or Phobos units, until the end of that battle round, you can roll 1d6 each time your opponent spends command points to use the stratagem.
Yep.
On a 5-up, your opponent must spend 1 additional command point, or else that stratagem has no effect and cannot be used again on this phase. Command points spent are lost. You can only use this stratagem once per battle.
So you're Calidusing me.
Calidus just slightly worse. So Calidus is on a 4-up, as opposed to a 5-up.
And you roll the dice rather than me rolling the dice.
Yes.
Yeah.
Correct.
Okay.
Raven
so you
Guard
can
player
use a
is the
command
one
point
that,
if you want to.
correct.
Yeah.
So I think you near enough guaranteed you'll see Raven Guard armies with scouts and Phobos units because
that's what they do.
Yeah, that is what they do. It's good. It's for 2 command points. It's not cheap. Against something like Genestealer Cult, I can see this being really useful. Against other Marine armies, against even Eldar armies, probably not kind of vital, because I think a lot of them won't be burning through so many command points kind of early doors. Actually, I think for a lot of armies, you're probably going to spend as many of your command points as you're going to cost them.
Yes, I think you're right. It's,
so,
but it does make your opponent think twice in their first turn about, if I'm using an expensive strat that's 3 CP, do I really want to spend 4 CP on it? And then that's half my command points gone. Yeah,
exactly. And it's, for something like, as I say, Genestealer Cult that will have maybe 15 CP to burn through, and they will burn through them, actually that could be decent, just because you're getting to roll that dice that many times.
Do they get through a lot of CPs in turn 1? Do you see
often do, yeah. It's normally turn 2 is when they come in when they're really burning them, but
then that won't be usable then.
No, sadly not. So next one's False Flight, which is 2 CP again. Use this stratagem when a Raven Guard unit from your army falls back, unit can shoot and charge again this turn.
Cool.
So basically you're giving the Warlord trait from previously, you're giving it to a unit for a turn. 2 CP's spendy, but with your Shock Assault rule now, getting that extra attack, that can be the difference maker sometimes.
Well, if you've got a backfield 10-man unit of Hellblasters that have just been tied up in combat and you really want to get them out and murder things, then
worthwhile. And it's actually a Raven Guard unit, so something like a Dreadnought or something like that can take advantage of that as well. Next one, Lay Low the Tyrant, 1 CP, good name as well, I like this one.
Raven Guard.
Use this stratagem when the Raven Guard infantry unit or biker unit from your army is chosen to fight within the fight phase. Until the end of that phase, when resolving an attack made by a model in that unit against a character unit that is not a vehicle, or against a unit that is not a vehicle and contains any models with a wounds characteristic of 4 or more, add 1 to the wound roll.
Right, okay.
So, it's good. Good against characters, and +1 wound is decent. Veterans of Long War is a superb stratagem, which obviously does the same thing. You don't see many models with 4 or more wounds in a unit. Tyrannid monsters. So most of those are either like warriors and that, I believe, are 3 still.
3, yeah.
So it may not have a huge amount of amount of use.
Literators. Literators
possibly. But actually, for something like something like Shrike or someone like that, actually, if he's jumping in and trying to murderate a character, that can be really useful, because if you're then wounding on 3s, so if I'm against T4 3s with a reroll for 1 CP, I'd probably do that. It's not a bad deal.
Cheap and cheerful.
So next one, again, very Raven Guardy. See but remain unseen. Single command point. Use this stratagem at the end of your turn. Select one Raven Guard unit from your army that did not make any attacks during that turn.
Okay.
Until the start of your next turn, when resolving an attack made with a ranged weapon against that unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Oh, okay.
So that is actually probably half decent for ITC players. Because if you've got, I don't know, unit of scouts that's claiming engineers,
that's exactly
so they're not going to be shooting anyway. If you've got them in cover, you're on a -2 to hit, +2 to your armour save.
Yeah, worth it.
For a single command point.
Yeah.
Or if you really want to keep them alive. Yeah.
You've got something that needs to, say you've got a defend objective or something like that. For those two victory points.
Yeah, so it is tough because you've got to stop yourself from attacking with them. You can't do anything with it. But actually, it's not bad. It's not bad. I quite like that one.
I find that's maybe not in Raven Guard lists now, and certainly not in that game against Charlie's Custodes the other week. I often find my sniper scouts don't do much in the game anyway. They just sit there and hold objectives.
Plink a bit off. The other usage of this actually as well is if you've got a close combat unit, so someone like Vanguard veterans that haven't got a shooting attack anyway. If you move in to try and get yourself into a better position, actually giving yourself a -1 just might help kind of keep them alive for a little while longer. Next one's Strike from the Shadows, so single command point. Use it during deployment. Select one Raven Guard infantry unit from your army. You can set that unit in ambush instead of setting up on the battlefield. If you do at the end of one of your movement phases, you can set that unit up anywhere on the battlefield that is more than 9 inches away from enemy models. Deep strike, basically. Aggressors, yeah. And you can burn that one command point and do it multiple times because it's during deployment. It's decent, that. Yeah. We like that. You will see a lot of reserved units in Raven Guard armies, I think.
So you've got that 50% restriction, haven't you? But you can bypass it because some of the things you're doing is just a redeploy rather than reserve.
Correct.
So you also could have them all over the place.
Yeah. So that could be interesting. And again, it's only one command point. You can't really complain at that. Vengeance for Isfahan 5. Basically the same as the Iron Hands one. So if you've not seen that yet, use a stratagem when the Raven Guard unit from your army is chosen to fight within the fight phase. Until the end of that phase, when resolve an attack by a model in this unit against Word Bearers, Iron Warriors, Night Lords or Alpha Legion. Again, no Emperor's Children.
Yeah, I guess it's the ones that betrayed them at the drop site massacre. Yeah. Well, Emperor's Children were in the fortress with Horus and that, weren't they?
Yeah, you can re-roll the hit roll. So, re-roll hits against... So you probably won't see a huge amount of most of those. Alpha Legion, maybe. Probably the better of the Chaos ones.
Maybe soon. Who knows?
Well, yeah, we'll see. We'll see what's happening. So next one, Ambush in Fire. This one's quite a fun one, actually. 2 command points, so it is... So I say it's spendy, it's not like we're paying 3 or 4, it's not like Vect, but use this stratagem at the start of your movement phase if the tactical doctrine is active. Until the start of the next battle round, when resolving an attack made with a rapid fire or assault weapon by a Raven Guard model from your army, on an unmodified wound roll of 6, the armour penetration characteristic of that weapon is improved by an additional 1.
So this is that again, isn't it?
Storm of Fire, and it's once per battle that you can use it.
Yeah.
Whilst the tactical doctrine is active, so turn 2 onwards.
So the thing that can't stack, according to elsewhere in the rules, that actually should stack. It needs an FAQ really across all the books.
Yeah, I think they need to clear it
They've
up.
all got a variation on that theme, and
so Decapitating Blow was the next one.
It's still a bit too tender.
So 2 command points for this one. Use this stratagem when an enemy warlord is destroyed by an attack made by a Raven Guard unit from your army. Until the end of that battle, subtract 1 from the leadership characteristics of enemy units. I think it's too expensive for 2 command points.
Yeah, is leadership really that big a deal? I never really...
Not now.
Inflict or I'm on the receiving end of it. Yeah. Certainly not with marine armies.
No, I think it's useful if you've got multiple things that can stack. So things like Eldar Harlequins can do it quite well, where you can actually get like a -3, -4 onto it, and then you're starting to look at the territory of actually it's starting to do either causing someone to burn 2 command points to auto pass or to start losing models. But when it's just a -1, it really doesn't make that much of a difference. Yeah, it's for the rest of the battle.
Yeah.
But yeah, too expensive for 2 points anyway.
And I mean, the only other thing I thought is there are certain psychic powers, I'm not sure if between the 3 disciplines they can take, where you can go up against a character and the leadership values make a difference.
You can do the one to get a command point back, can't you, off the
the mind
obscuration
rage
one? Yeah.
But, yeah, it's not worth it.
Yeah. So next one is quite fun, again, quite fun and quite fitting. A deadly prize.
A deadly prize.
Yeah, 1 command point. Use the stratagem at the end of your turn. Select 1 objective marker within 3 inch of any Raven Guard infantry units and not within 3 inch of enemy units. So it's an objective that you are currently holding. The next time an enemy unit ends a move within 3 inch of that objective marker, roll a d6. On a 2 to 4, they suffer d3 mortal wounds. On a 5, it suffers 3 mortal wounds. Oh, sorry, on a 5+, it suffers 3 mortal wounds.
I like this one.
You cannot use the stratagem on the same objective marker more than once per battle, but you can use it on multiple objectives.
So you fall back off the objective and say, here, come and get it if you want.
Basically,
I booby-trapped it.
Yeah, it is a booby trap, and...
Is it just... So it's the next time an enemy... So it only goes off once, but...
Yeah, it's just the next time, and they have to finish within 3.
Yeah.
So if they move over it, it's unaffected.
Yeah.
If you can go within 3, but it's if you finish within 3 inches of it.
So if you want the objective,
if you want to take it, you're going to get hit with mortal wounds. So at the tail end of a game, when you've got 3 Space Marines left out of a tactical squad that's trying to hold it or something like that, then. Yeah, that's quite fun. It's only a single command point as well.
There's another fun thing. Obviously, they've not released the models yet, but I dare say you'll want some
incursors.
Yeah, so you can
the haywire mine
on it as well. I like that. It's fun.
Yeah, I really like that one. This one's one of those next kind of poorly worded ones. So it's force their hand. It's a single command point. Use this stratagem after your opponent generates tactical objectives at the start of their turn. Select 1 objective marker in your opponent's deployment zone. If you control that objective marker and there are any Raven Guard infantry or biker units from your army within 3 inch of that objective marker, you can select 1 of your opponent's active tactical objectives. That tactical objective is discarded and your opponent generates a new objective. You can only use this stratagem once per turn and only if the mission you are playing uses tactical objectives.
Okay.
So if you're in their face, and they all of a sudden draw a card that looks like it's going to
benefit them,
rack them in D3 victory points, or it's basically it's the inverse of the Iron Hands one, that where they can get extra points, you can then deny points basically. Gotcha. So for a single command point, actually it's fairly decent. You have to be in their face to do it, but again, a lot of Raven Guard armies, that's how you want to play. Like if you're a Raven Guard player, you've got that play style in your mind anyway. So next one, Strike from the Skies. This one you will see a lot. Single command point, and it's at the start of your charge phase, select 1 Raven Guard jump pack unit. Until the end of that phase, when it's chosen to charge with, even if it advances this turn, when a charge roll was made for that unit, add 1 to the result. So if you've got a unit of Vanguard veterans, say, next to Shrike, that deep strike in, you're making an 8 inch charge now with a reroll. It just makes them a little bit more.
This is a very CP hungry army, though, isn't it?
Yeah, it will be, and
it's the glass cannon.
Oh yeah,
you've got to throw a load of CP and invest things into it.
Very unlike me to use glass cannon armies as well, isn't it, Jamie?
It is, yeah, totally. This must be a big change for you. However, will you adapt?
So next one is a Master of the Trifold Path.
Isn't that a Nurgle thing?
No.
Okay.
No. So 1 CP. Use this stratagem after nominating a Raven Guard character model that's not a named character to be your warlord. Can generate 1 additional warlord trait. Has to be from the Raven Guard book. It's the usual. We've already gone through the warlord traits. Like, that is where the strength in them lies. If you're not taking Shrike, who you want as your warlord, that's your go-to straight away. That's an easy command point spent.
Yeah, I can pretty much predict what the last two stratagems there are going to be based on the pattern we're seeing.
So, Favour of the Raven Spire,
Yeah.
1 command point, Raven Guard relics in successor chapters.
Yeah.
Oh no, sorry, that's the sergeant, giving it to the sergeant.
Oh yeah, so the other one
And
must
then-
be...
Yeah, Token of Brotherhood, 1 CP, giving it to your successor chapter.
Yeah.
And then finally,
Mm.
the Psychic Discipline,
Umbromancy.
Umbromancy. Okay, so it's all right. There were a couple of standouts, a couple of decent ones, a couple that are situational, but against the right opponents, you kind of be looking at it.
Mm-hmm.
So the first one's Umbral Form. Umbral Form. Has a warp charge value of 5, so easy to cast. Until the start of your next psychic phase, this psyker has a 4-up invulnerable.
Okay.
It's alright, give him an Iron Halo for a turn. It's an
Yeah.
easy cast.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
If he's not a Terminator and you... Yeah.
Yeah, it's decent.
Defensive
It's decent.
one.
Yeah. Second one, Enveloping Darkness.
Ooh.
Very Raven Guardy that. Has a warp charge value of 7, so a bit more difficult now. If manifested, select 1 enemy unit within 18 and visible to this psyker. Until the start of your next psychic phase, that unit cannot fire Overwatch. And when resolving, it gets better. And when resolving an attack made by the unit, subtract 1 from the hit roll.
Oh.
So it's -1 to hit and negates Overwatch.
Oh.
So that could be very, very useful against
Iron Hands.
Iron Hands. That's probably one of my favourites out of this. Probably is my favourite actually out of that. The fact that it's an 18-inch range is quite good as well. Shouldn't be too hard to get you guys useful, kind of within range for that. Number 3, Spectral Blade. Again, not worded great, but very, very fun, this one. Has a warp charge value of 5, so again, nice and easy to cast. If manifested until the start of your next psychic phase, this psyker's strength characteristic is equal to their leadership. So on a librarian, that's quite nasty.
Yeah. Leadership 9, yes.
Yeah. In addition, until the start of your next psychic phase, when resolving an attack made with a melee weapon by this psyker against a unit whose highest leadership characteristic is lower than the psyker's,
Okay.
the weapon has an armor penetration characteristic of -4. So you're basically giving him a Thunderhammer.
Yeah.
So
against, is it against a unit or a character? Sorry, I missed that.
it's just against a unit.
Okay.
So it's against anything. So
most thing, yeah. So unless they're
like a
veterans
tank.
or characters, yeah.
yeah.
And even then, you could use the -1 leadership strat. Oh no, I can't remember how that worked. But anyway.
Yeah, you could. If you'd kill their warlord and burn the strat.
Yeah.
So next one, 4, Shadow Step. This is definitely a very Raven Guard power here. This is actually the one they leaked on the community page. So it's a warp charge value of 7. If manifested, select 1 Raven Guard character from your army within 18 inch of the psyker. Remove that unit from the battlefield and set it up anywhere on the battlefield more than 9 inch from enemy models.
So another way to redeploy.
Yeah, another redeploy, but you can do that at any turn during the game. That, for me, is really strong. To get...
I need that objective that's way over there. Okay, off you go.
Dunk, straight over. Or if you've got, I don't know, a character, Smash Captain. We keep going back to them because they're so good in this army. If you've got... He's just lumped the bejesus out of an Imperial Knight and then... all of a sudden you want him to go and take on another one, you redeploy him and then he's hitting that charge with his reroll because he's got Raven's Fury, maybe burning a command point to get him in there. You can go and hit another one straight next turn. So even if you've got someone who's really separating out, it just makes your effective range or your kind of danger zone like that much bigger.
So it sounds to me as if the auto take HQs are going to be a Smash Captain of some variety, a Librarian, and presumably Shrike.
I was going to say Shrike could be a big one. I think. I think you'll probably see a few Phobos characters with the Ex Tenebris, the sniper.
Yeah.
Because I think you'll end up seeing a lot of things like Eliminators. And Eliminators are good, but they could definitely do with a bubble.
And so much bigger than the Scouts.
It's just so much bigger.
I was looking at them next to each other here, and it's just like, say hello to my little friend.
But they do really benefit from a bubble. So I think having still Phobos captains and lieutenants nearby could be useful. Next one, so number 5 is the Abyss.
The Abyss.
The Abyss.
Wasn't that a film?
It was a really bad film as well. Warp charge value was 6. If manifested, select one enemy unit within 18 inch and visible to the Psyker.
Okay.
Roll 3d6.
Okay.
For each roll of 4 or more, suffers 1 mortal wound.
Ooh.
So
It's, yeah.
you can, it does give you a -1 to leadership if you lose any models on it, or any models in the unit.
So just average.
Yeah, so it's a poor
extra mortal wound generator.
Yeah, it's a weaker smite, but it is targetable rather than characters. Rather than it being your nearest. So actually, that's all right. If you can get a couple of mortal wounds through on something.
Yeah.
Great.
Last but not least,
The Darkness Within. Literally the most emo sounding. It is so stereotypical. Warp charge value is 6. If manifested, select up to 3 enemy units within 18 inch of this Psyker.
Okay.
Roll a d6 for each of those units, add in 1 for the result. If the result of the psychic test was more than 10, on a 4 or more, that suffers 1 mortal wound.
Okay.
Again, throws out a few mortal wounds here and there. You can target it because you select up to 3 within 18 inch.
So if there's 6 there and you want to target the 3 characters, you pick 3
You can do, but you're only looking at dishing out a mortal wound each. It's all right. It's fine. Realistically, you're probably taking 2 or 3 of those. If you're wanting to use yourself as your librarian as a buff character, you're taking Enveloping Darkness and Shadow Step, so preventing the Overwatch, giving people negatives, and obviously helping your characters move around.
Yeah.
If you want him to be a bit of a badass himself, you give him Umbral Form and Spectral Blade, so he's running around with a 4-up invulnerable save and a Thunder Hammer.
If you want to throw the mortal wounds out, you take the Abyss and Darkness.
Yeah, so there's combinations within it. So
that's
that is the end of the book. I do really like these supplements. I think they've been really well put together by GW.
Agreed, yeah. So I really was sad that Angels of Death, so the old Angels of Death in 7th edition, it was like, and they did the Chaos version as well. It's like, this is what we really needed for years, and then sort of within a year it was like, we're going to get rid of all those books. I think with the supplements here, I think it was the right way for them to do them, and at the moment they've just stuck to the first founding chapters, which for me just pushes them a little bit more. It makes them a bit more important, and not a bad thing really. I'm just hoping that they do the same for other codexes in the future. So if we see an Ulthway supplement, a Tau Sept supplement, even going into like Tyranid High Fleets, I probably can't see it happening so much with some of them. Guaranteed.
I think Chaos Marines, you've already got 2 with the Chaos Marines anyway. You've got Thousand Suns and Death Guard.
They're more equivalent to like the Blood Angels, Dark Angels, aren't they? They've got their own books. But supplement wise, I'm sure you will see supplements for Chaos Marines like they've done for these guys off of a parent book.
Hopefully World Eaters and Emperor's Children.
Yeah, well, they're on the cusp, aren't they? Would they get their own book like Blood Angels, Dark Angels, or would they get a supplement? Who knows? But the
thing is, you've got certainly a lot of those. You've got, whilst like we say that Emperor's Children now, you've got Noise Marines. That's the only thing that really makes them unique from normal Chaos.
Yeah.
But you've got the potential to really expand on that.
Totally. So how far do they want to take it? That's the question. If you're going to put out a couple of models for it, then probably just stick it in a supplement, because after all, Ultramarines had about 10 data sheets for unique things in theirs, didn't they?
Exactly.
If you want to make it really
They've got about
unique,
100 characters for a start.
Yeah, true. But if they're going to build it from the ground up like they did with the Death Guard re-release, their sort of flagship 8th edition enemy, then sure, you can justify a whole new book.
Yeah, but as I say, overall, Raven Guard, I think they're looking good. They're certainly going to play the way that they've kind of been built up in the fluff.
Yeah.
I think the chapter of tactics still does bug me slightly, that it does kind of put the emphasis on sitting still and shooting. But I think the warlord traits and the stratagems actually kind of divert that playing style a little bit. I think that does reward you a little bit more for playing a bit more aggressive.
So these would possibly be an army where, as we were saying, I can't remember if it was earlier on this or the Iron Hands review, that actually if you do want to say, well, you know what, I don't love the doctrines that much that I'm going to build my whole army around it. These guys might be ones who benefit from taking a loyal 32, forgetting about the doctrines and just saying, I'm going to have all the extra command points because the stratagems is where it's at.
Yeah, as I say, if you're not expecting to see a lot of characters, then actually you can get rid of that doctrine. Like that's not really going to be. Yeah, the extra -1 loss of that would be a little bit of a hit, but actually, if you're playing the Raven Guard way, you're going to be throwing assault squads and things in. You're going to be using snipers, so you're looking for the mortal wounds anyway. An extra -1 isn't going to make a huge difference, but having all those command points potentially could. Plus, being able to drop in an assassin, Vindicare assassin, or an Eversaw,
fits with the theme as well.
Fits with the theme quite nicely. It's going to add another element, and that's what GW wanted. Realistically, they wanted, if you wanted to play pure, there is a bonus to do so. If you want to soup up, you can do.
You just don't get that extra perk. It's totally the right way to do it, and I'm sure they'll extend it to all the other factions as we get
fingers crossed. Fingers crossed.
To do.
So that's the Raven Guard. So our second supplement review. Iron Hands will be on the channel as well. Not going to do White Scars, are we though?
No,
Ultra Smurfs.
White Scars, Ultramarines and the new book, we, for various reasons, just missed the boat on that one slightly. We don't get the books obviously in advance, we get them on general release, so yeah. So
subscribe lots, so then we get them in advance and then we can do videos for you as well. We do have to get our subscriber rates massive though to do it.
Yeah, I'm sure it's just a long way off if ever that one, but anyway, we'll continue plodding through.
Okay, so battle report coming.
Yeah,
it will be my sneaky beakies. So we're just about to film it. So
we'll see who comes out on top. If it's a relatively short video when it's uploaded, we'll know that it went very one way for one of us.
Like the Custodes one against the Smurfs.
Sorry, Charlie. Okay.
He's not that sorry. Okay then. So thank you for tuning in. All the usual. If you liked it, let us know what you liked. If you didn't, if you think we waffled too much, fairly happy for you to tell me to shut up every now and again.
This is probably double the length that we were hoping to film, isn't it?
Yeah, pretty much.
But
to
do them justice, I don't think you can make them any shorter, really. So
no. Okay then. So
ta-ta.
Farewell.